everyone, welcome to the fourth prose unit in your syllabus called Anne Frank, The Diary of a Young Girl. In this video, I'll first introduce the author and her historical background. After that, I'll explain the text line by line along with the discussion of the difficult words and their meanings. So let's jump straight into the introduction now. Anneliese Marie Frank or Anne Frank was born on 12th June 1929 in Germany. She was just 16 years old when she died in February or March 1945. Anne's family, which was of Jewish faith, moved to Netherlands from Germany in 1933 after Adolf Hitler and the Nazis came to power. So basically, around the time Anne Frank was born, Adolf Hitler and his party were gaining more and more supporters. Hitler hated the Jews and he blamed them for the problems in the country, such as unemployment. Anne's parents were forced to leave their business and run away to the Netherlands, a neighboring country of Germany. When Germany occupied Netherlands, her family went into hiding in a secret apartment in 1942. The Franks were discovered in 1944 and sent to concentration camps where Jews were mass murdered. So it is a well-known fact that Hitler ordered mass killings of people of Jewish faith. The Frank family was also caught after they spent 2 years in hiding in a secret basement in Netherlands, and they were taken to these concentration camps. She and her sister Margot died in Bergen-Belsen concentration camp near Hanover due to typhus. So both of these sisters got ill and they died. Anne Frank's diary of her family's time in hiding, first published in 1947, has been translated into almost 70 languages and is one of the most widely read accounts of the Holocaust. So this lesson that NCERT has prescribed in your class 10 syllabus is an extract from the diary that Anne Frank had written while she was in hiding with her family. It is considered a very important historical document because it details a first-hand experience of life and times during the Holocaust. That is why it is one of the most widely read accounts of the Holocaust. Anne Frank wrote about life in hiding, her feelings of loneliness and her frustration over the lack of privacy, along with typical teenage issues such as crushes on boys, arguments with her mother, and resentments toward her sister, and difficult subjects like war, humanity, and her own identity. Anne also wrote short stories and essays during her time in hiding. Although she was only 13 when she started writing, her writing grew immensely mature with time. She talks about both serious and non-serious issues with equal flair. Anne Frank's diary is known for its candid nature, yet the mountain of wisdom it contained because she was very young. Now that I've introduced the author to you, let's jump straight into the text. Writing in a diary is a really strange experience for someone like me. Not only because I've never written anything before, but also because it seems to me that later on, neither I nor anyone else will be interested in the musings of a 13-year-old schoolgirl. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I feel like writing, and I have an even greater need to get all kinds of things off my chest. So Anne Frank starts off writing in her diary by saying that it is a strange experience for her because she has not written anything before, and also because she thinks that she is just a teenager and nobody would be interested in knowing about her musings or her random thoughts. But then she quickly changes her mind and she says that she feels like writing because she feels like she needs to get things off her chest. Off her chest means to share her thoughts with her diary, to feel lighter, to unburden herself. Paper has more patience than people. I thought of this saying on one of those days when I was feeling a little depressed and was sitting at home with my chin in my hands, bored and listless, wondering whether to stay in or go out. Look how reflective this little girl is. She's thinking that paper means her diary maybe has more patience than the other people. She's thinking about this saying and writing about it in her diary. She says that she's sitting at home being depressed, sad, bored, and she's listless. Listless means lacking in energy. She's very lifeless and she's thinking if whether her diary has more patience than other people. I finally stayed where I was, brooding. Yes, paper does have more patience. And since I'm not planning to let anyone else read this stiff-backed notebook Rand Lee referred to as diary, unless I should ever find a real friend, it probably won't make a bit of a difference. She says that she did not go outside. She kept on brooding. Brooding means thinking. She thinks to herself that she will not allow anyone to read her diary, which is a stiff backed, a hard covered notebook, unless she actually finds a real friend. Now I'm back to the point that prompted me to keep a diary in the first place. I don't have a friend. Let me put it more clearly. Since no one will believe that a 13-year-old girl is completely alone in the world, and I'm not. I have loving parents and a 16-year-old sister, and there are about 30 people I can call friends. I have a family, loving aunts, and a good home. Prompt means to lead someone to do something. So she says that the thing that led her to write a diary in the first place is that she doesn't have a friend. She explains that she's not completely alone because she has loving parents and a sister and around 30 friends, including family and aunts. But like she said in the previous lines, she does not have a true friend. That is why she started to write that diary. So basically, she's writing a diary because she doesn't have any true friends, according to her. No, on the surface, I seem to have everything except my one true friend. All I think about when I'm with friends is having a good time. I can't bring myself to talk about anything but ordinary everyday things. We don't seem to be able to get any closer, and that's the problem. Maybe it's my fault that we don't confide in each other. So again, she says that on the surface means superficially. On outside, on the surface, it looks as if she has everything. But she doesn't have that one true friend. Whenever she is with her so called friends, she only talks to them about ordinary things, about common daily life things. The friends that she has are not very close to her. She thinks that maybe it is her fault. It is her mistake that they do not confide in. Confide in means to share secrets with each other. So, this little girl, all of 13 years of age, knows that true friends and close friends are the ones who you share your secrets with. These are the friends with whom you have deep conversations, not just ordinary everyday conversations. And she wants to have those close friends. Since she doesn't have any close friends, she's started writing a diary. In any case, that's just how things are, and unfortunately, they're not liable to change. That's why I've started the diary. So she says that things are not bound to change, meaning that it is not necessary that this situation will change. And what is the situation? The lack of close friends. And that is why she started to write that diary. To enhance the image of this long awaited friend in my imagination, I don't want to jot down the facts in this diary the way most people would do. But I want the diary to be my friend, and I'm going to call this friend Kitty. So she says that she has waited for a long time for a close friend, and now this diary will become her friend. She names it Kitty. And also decides that she will not only jot down means put down or note down. She will not only note down points in her diary like other people, but she is going to talk to the diary like it is her friend. Since no one would understand a word of my stories to Kitty, if I were to plunge right in, I'd better provide a brief sketch of my life, much as I dislike doing so. Plunge means to dive or to jump. So she says that if she starts to jump straight into talking about her life, no one would understand anything. So she decides to provide a short sketch of her life containing all the details, even if she hates doing that. So now Anne Frank has decided to tell us about her life details. So now let's see what she tells us. My father, the most adorable father I've ever seen, didn't marry my mother until he was 36 and she was 25. My sister Margaret was born in Frankfurt in Germany in 1926. I was born on 12th June 1929. I lived in Frankfurt until I was 4. My father emigrated to Holland in 1933. My mother, Edith Hollander Frank, went with him to Holland in September, while Margaret and I were sent to Aachen to stay with our grandmother. Margaret went to Holland in December and I followed in February, when I was plunked down on the table as a birthday present for Margaret. So she starts by saying that her father and her mother married each other when they were 36 and 25 years of age respectively. She calls her father adorable. Adorable means cute or very lovable. Look at her life events now. Anne's sister Margaret was born in 1926 in Frankfurt, Germany. Anne herself was born in June 1929 at the same place. For 4 years from 1929 to 1933 they were living in Frankfurt, after which her father Otto Frank moved to Holland in 1933. Her mother, Edith Frank, also moved with him to Holland in September 1933. The girls were sent to Aachen to live with her grandmother for some months. Her sister then moved to Holland in December 1933, and after 2 months, in February 1934, Anne Frank also moved with them. Anne Frank also says that she was plunked down. Plunked down means dropped heavily on the table as a birthday gift for her sister, Margaret. I started right away at the Montessori Nursery School. I stayed there until I was 6, at which time I started in the first form. In the sixth form, my teacher was Mr. Kupras, the headmistress. At the end of the year, we were both in tears as we said a heartbreaking farewell. So Anne Frank started to go to the Montessori Nursery School in Holland at the age of 4. She got admitted into the first form or the first grade at the age of 6. She stayed in this place for 2 years till she was 6 years old. In class 6, Mrs. Kupras was her teacher. When she was leaving the school, they were both in tears. They were crying as Anne Frank was living in the year 1939 and she was moving to the Netherlands. In the summer of 1941, Grandma fell ill and had to have an operation. So my birthday passed with little celebration. Grandma died in January 1942. No one knows how often I think of her and still love her. In 1941, like she says, her grandma had an operation and in 1942 she passed away. She says that she still thinks of her grandmother and she still loves her. This birthday celebration in 1942 was intended to make up for the other, and grandma's candle was lit along with the rest. The 4 of us are still doing well, and that brings me to the present date of 20th June 1942 and the solemn dedication of my diary. So she ends the introduction to her life by saying that there are now 4 people in the family and they are doing well in the present. The date on which she has started this diary is 20th of June 1942. Now let's move on to the next part of this text. Saturday, 20th June 1942, Dearest Kitty. So Anne starts referring to her diary as Dearest Kitty. This is her first diary entry. Our entire class is quaking in its boots. The reason, of course, is the forthcoming meeting in which the teachers decide who'll move up to the next form and who will be kept back. So she starts talking about her class who is quaking. Quaking means shaking with fear. They're all scared because the results are to be announced in the forthcoming meeting, in the next meeting, and the teachers will announce who will pass and move on to the next grade or class, and who all will be kept back and remain in the same class or in the same form. Half the class is making bets. Gian and I laugh ourselves silly at the boys behind us, Cian and Jax, who have staked their entire holiday savings on the bet. So the children are placing bets on who would pass and who would not. Anne is laughing with her friend Gian at the 2 other boys, Cian and Jax, who are betting with each other. From morning to night, it's "You're going to pass." "No, I'm not." "Yes, you are." "No, I'm not." Even G's pleading glances and my angry outbursts can't calm them down. So the children are busy arguing who will pass and who will not, and they're betting their pocket money on it. Anne is getting angry, but they're still at it. Basically, Anne Frank is describing a typical school day in her diary. If you ask me, there are so many dummies that about a quarter of the class should be kept back. But teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on earth. I'm not so worried about my girlfriends and myself. We will make it. So Anne thinks that 1/4 or a quarter of the class should be held back because they are dummies or they are dumb according to her. She says that she is not worried about her friends and herself because she is sure that they are going to pass. The only subject I'm not sure about is maths. Anyway, all we can do is wait. Until then, we keep telling each other not to lose heart. So she says that she is worried about her performance in the subject maths, but then she decides to wait and watch and not lose heart. Lose heart means become discouraged or demotivated. I get along pretty well with all my teachers. There are 9 of them, 7 men and 2 women. So Anne Frank is a good student. She is sure that she is going to pass easily. She's also loved by her teachers. So she's got 9 teachers, 7 male and 2 female. You can see how Anne is detailing every little thing about her life in her diary. So this is what makes it such a rich document because she has described everything in such detail. Mr. Keesing, the old fogey who teaches maths, was annoyed with me for ages because I talked so much. After several warnings, he assigned me extra homework. an essay on the subject, a chatterbox. So now she introduces her teacher. She calls him an old fogey, Mr. Keesing. He was an old man who was annoyed. Annoyed means irritated with her because she used to talk during the classes. And when she did not stop irritating him, even after multiple warnings, he gave her an essay to write as a punishment. And the topic for the essay was a chatterbox. A chatterbox? What can you write about that? I'd worry about that later, I decided. I jotted down the title in my notebook, tucked it in my bag, and tried to keep quiet. So Anne Frank started to think about the topic of the essay and what she could write about it. But then she thought that she will think about it later. She wrote down the title in her notebook and tucked it. Tucked means put it in her bag, trying to keep quiet for the rest of the class. That evening, after I had finished the rest of my homework, the note about the essay caught my eye. I began thinking about the subject while chewing the tip of my fountain pen. So once at home in the evening, she finished her homework and started to think about the essay that she was given again. Anyone could ramble on and leave big spaces between the words, but the trick was to come up with convincing arguments to prove the necessity of talking. So she thinks that anyone could ramble. Ramble means to speak or write aimlessly. But see how this little girl is thinking about how to come up with convincing arguments. Convincing means effective, and arguments means facts or statements to support the fact that it is important to talk during the class. So she's thinking how to come up with interesting arguments to convince her teacher that it is important to talk during the class. I thought, and suddenly I had an idea. I wrote the 3 pages Mr. Keesing had assigned me and was satisfied. So she keeps on thinking and comes up with 3 pages on the given topic. Finally, she was satisfied with her essay. I argued that talking is a student's trait and that I would do my best to keep it under control, but that I would never be able to cure myself of the habit since my mother talked as much as I did, if not more, and that there's not much you can do about inherited traits. So see how Anne comes up with interesting arguments to prove her point. Trait means characteristic. So she says that talking is a trait of the student. She also thinks of trying to keep it under control, but she doesn't think her habit will be cured completely because she says that she gets it from her mother who talks too much just like her. She finally concludes by saying that she can't do much about inherited traits. Inherited means the traits that you get from the older generations. So her argument was that since it is an inherited trait that she gets from her mother and therefore she cannot do much about it. Mr. Keesing had a good laugh at my arguments, but when I proceeded to talk my way through the next lesson, he assigned me a second essay. So she tells her diary that Mr. Keesing laughed at her arguments and she still talked in the next class, which made her teacher assign her another essay. And this time it was supposed to be an incorrigible chatterbox. Incorrigible means something that cannot be corrected at all. I handed it in, and Mr. Keesing had nothing to complain about for 2 whole lessons. So she wrote another essay and submitted it. Mr. Keesing did not say anything else to her for 2 classes. However, during the 3rd lesson, he had finally had enough. Anne Frank, as a punishment for talking in class, write an essay entitled "Quack, Quack, Quack," said Mistress Chatterbox. So in the 3rd class, finally her teacher gave her another essay, a 3rd essay titled "Quack, Quack, Quack," said Mistress Chatterbox. So her teacher is trying to be funny with her. He's trying to make fun of her and he's trying to deter her from talking. But she's not listening to him at all. The class roared. I had to laugh too. Though I'd nearly exhausted my ingenuity on the topic of chatterboxes, it was time to come up with something else, something original. So this class started to laugh because the teacher gave her a funny topic to write an essay on. She says that she had nearly exhausted her ingenuity. Ingenuity means her originality on the topic of chatterboxes because there was nothing else to write. But she wanted to come up with something else, something original to convince this teacher that it is very important to talk during the classes. So she finally decides to come up with some original ideas for this 3rd essay. My friend San, who is good at poetry, offered to help me write the essay from beginning to end in verse, and I jumped for joy. So Anne Frank's friend San decided to help her to write an essay in poetry, and she became very happy. Mr. Keesing was trying to play a joke on me with this ridiculous subject, but I'd make sure the joke was on him. So Anne Frank realizes that her teacher is trying to joke with her by giving her essays on ridiculous topics. Ridiculous means foolish. She finally decides that she is going to play the joke on him. So you can see how this little girl is very determined. She's not discouraged or demotivated by the fact that she is being punished again and again. She takes it all in good fun and tries to come up with innovative ideas and arguments to convince her teacher. I finished my poem and it was beautiful. It was about a mother duck and a father swan with three baby ducklings who were bitten to death by the father because they quacked too much. Luckily, Mr. Keesing took the joke the right way. So finally, she wrote a poem about a mother duck and a father swan who killed its three ducklings because they quacked too much. So this joke made even Mr. Keesing laugh, and she was very glad that he took it in the right manner. He read the poem to the class, adding his own comments and to several other classes as well. Since then, I've been allowed to talk and haven't been assigned any extra homework. On the contrary, Mr. Keesing's always making jokes these days. Yours, Anne. So finally, Anne tells her diary that Mr. Keesing loved her poem and he read it in front of the class by adding his commentary in between. He never assigned her any more work after that as a punishment for talking, and he started to crack jokes in the classes himself. And that's how she ends her diary entry. So that was it for the text. Now that we've read it, let us analyze it in depth. Let us first discuss the genre of the text. This is a memoir. A memoir is a form of narrative writing that describes the personal experiences of a writer. It is a personal account written for oneself. It is a chronological account of everyday events. So it is clear that it is a memoir which is written in a chronological. Chronological means according to time. So in a chronological fashion it is written. It is a very personal document and it is based on the writer's own experiences. This particular memoir is a historical document because it is a primary source of information about life and times around 1940s in the Nazi Germany. The next aspect is point of view. This memoir, just like I explained, is a personal account. Therefore, it is written from a first person point of view. As Anne Frank tells us about her life, we look at the world through a teenager's eyes. So therefore, it is a first person's point of view. Let us come to the next point. Target audience. This memoir is not written for an audience. Anne Frank writes this diary for herself. It is her personal account. However, in case someone reads it, she provides some details about her life to introduce herself to the reader. The next aspect is tone. Anne Frank uses a casual language to write this memoir because she is referring to the diary as her friend. The tone is chatty and informal. So she's frank and she's non-serious in her writing because this is her friend that she's talking about. Now that we've discussed the major aspects of this text, let us draw a brief character sketch of Anne Frank. Anne Frank is a 13-year-old German-born Jewish girl. The first character trait that defines her is expressiveness. Anne Frank is a very expressive girl. She describes the incidents in her life in a very interesting manner, although in the beginning she is very unsure about writing. She starts to consider the diary as a friend and writes about her life and the events she experienced in great detail. Her self-expression is one of her greatest strengths. She mentions her worries, her concerns, and even her affirmations in her diary. Here is an example. You can pause the video and read it. See how she's unsure about writing in the beginning, but then she convinces herself that she needs to write because she needs to get things off her chest. She needs to unburden herself, and she expresses it all in her diary very, very clearly. The second characteristic that defines Anne Frank is detail orientedness. In her diary, she describes her family history in great detail in a month-wise fashion. She's just a 13-year-old girl, but she has a great sense of narrative diction. She's a good storyteller who pays attention to the details. Here is an example from the text. You can pause the video and read it. See how she explained every single event month-wise in great detail. The next character trait is maturity. For her age, Anne Frank was exceptionally mature. She talks about deep issues such as the idea of true friends and human nature. Here is an example from the text. See how she's reflecting upon the saying that paper has more patience than people. She also talks about her friends who are very superficial or are only for namesake. They're not her true friends because she can't talk to them really. The next character trait is good writing skills. Anne Frank is a good writer. She even works hard to come up with convincing arguments to defend her stance of the need and importance of talking in the class. This proves that she is a good writer who works hard to come up with genuine ideas. Here is an example of one of our arguments from the text. The last character trait is wittiness. Anne Frank was a very funny girl who knew how to take a joke and how to laugh at herself. She does not get discouraged by the punishments given to her by her teacher. She even decides to have fun even in punishment and makes the whole class laugh. Anne Frank is a smart child with exceptional intellectual means mental capabilities. Here is an example from the text again. You can pause it and you can read it for yourself. So that was it for the video. Thank you so much.